So that's basically how you get into med school into Germany. Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of this channel. My name is Dimitri. I'm a last year medical student at the LMU in Munich, Germany, and I will be telling you in this video how to get into med school in Germany. So I was born and raised in Macedonia, and I knew that I wanted to study in one of the better universities of the world. And then I actually decided, depending on ranking, where I want to go. And one of the places I could have go was Germany, and I had to study German for it. So medicine in Germany is only in German. Maybe there are some private universities that study in English, but if you want to study medicine in Germany, then you're probably going to have to do it in German. So the way to get into medical school is a little bit more complicated than getting into other universities, and it's probably a little bit harder. So in other subjects besides medicine, you could get in more easily, but then you have to be really good and pass the exams in order to stay. So the filter for medicine is before getting into med school, and another is after getting into. As always, this is not the case. This depends really from the university and from the Bundesrepublik, which you're studying in, because there are different laws for Bavaria and there are different laws for Baden-Württemberg. So before you're applying, you should know where you're applying and what are the requirements there. And also the fees which you pay can vary from one to another university or one to another Bundesrepublik. How do you get in? There are basically three main points. First, we're going to talk about the groups, which depend on your nationality. Then we're going to talk about your grades, and then we're going to talk about your language. So let's get into the first part. What are the main groups? There are three main groups. The one is for the German students, or the ones which are holding a German passport, which is about 80 to 85%, I would say. And then you have 10 to 15%, depending from the university, for students who are part of the EU, meaning the European Union. And if you don't have an EU passport, or if you are applying with a passport which is not part of this group, then they're about 5 to 10% maximum from all spaces. Usually it's 5 to 8%, depending on the university. I will be talking about the two later groups, meaning the one with the EU and non-EU, because it's a similar process. I was applying personally to the group which was for the 5%, so there were a lot less places for this group. So what about the second and third? So in general, there are mainly two main ways which you apply. The one is you apply either directly to the university, which is pretty simple. And for this one, you just see what the university requires and you send all your applications and documents and whatever there. And the second one is that you have to go through another organization, which in main cases is called the Uni Assist. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and also money. So what is Uni Assist? I have to tell you this because it's very important. If you have to apply through this one, and this depends if the university says you should or you should not, then you send all your documents from high school and so on to this organization, where they open up an account for you, where you send the documents and they check if the documents are valid. Usually the process takes around 4 to 8 weeks, and it usually takes 8 weeks. It never took me something less than that. In that case, you should be very careful about the time frame when are you applying and if you have enough time. So at the end of the procedure, Uni Assist sends you one document, and then you have to send this document yourself together with a copy of all the documents that you sent to Uni Assist to the university which you're applying to, which makes absolutely no sense and just extra bureaucracy for some other reason. I don't know. It's horrendous. It took me a lot of time and energy, so please make sure that you have enough time for that. So the second point, which you already know, are the grades. So the grades for medical school have to be really great. You have to have really good grades, and I think you're already aware of it. So the threshold for getting in is really high, and there's a thing called numerus clausus, which is basically a filter for the university before you get into medicine. The education in some countries, or the high school in some countries, aren't recognized in Germany. So if they're not, then you will have to go to Germany and do an extra year of a thing just called college, where you learn the basics of medicine again, and where you do a certificate at the end. This lets you be eligible for medical school. In my case, the high school and in general the school diplomas were accepted, and I didn't have to go through any of this. But I have a lot of friends who actually had to do a full year of studying into college before they got into university. Make sure that your grades are good and that you don't have to do this, and check if the whole education from your country is recognized. The third point, which is the language. I think you already know you have to be proficient in German. This is going to be also a deciding factor. So the grades that you get on the test will flow together with the other grades into the decision if you're going to be accepted into medical school or not. So in some sense it's very important, but you should not just learn to get good grades. You should learn especially for yourself, because being proficient in German will help you and make your life a lot easier when you start medical school and when you start university. So that being said, please learn to be as good as possible. From all the tests, you need at least a B2 in all of the 4 activities for a language. So speaking, writing, reading, and listening. The last part that I'm going to talk about is basically a tip. So I'm gonna call this other activities, and by other activities I mean everything you do in your CV. Your CV should be great. You should have a good CV, and you should be structured really well, and it should be optically really well looking, right? So don't just like put everything there and be like it's good enough. You have AI, you have thousands of things. If somebody tells you not to use them, don't listen to them. Use everything that you can. You're competing with a lot of people for just one place. And I would do everything that I can in order to maximize my possibility of getting in. And for the CV, please write things which are really relevant. You have to know that the people who are doing this are reading tens of thousands of applications, and they will laugh if they see something like that you took care of kittens when you were 6 and something, because I mean it's good, but it's not really that relevant. So yes, show that you have done good for your community, which is also something good, that you're great in other fields. But like I said, please make it relevant. Don't say that you did something which was 20 years ago, and make it something which shows the type of personality you are. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, if you like what I had to say, or you have any interest in a different topic, if you have questions, then please, for the love of God, leave them down below in the tipsy comments. And I will see you in the next video.